Of course, you. All right. Well, everyone, please give another round of applause for my next guest, Jordan Craig.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, folks, thanks for rolling through. Basically, I'll do a quick introduction of myself. I'm Jordan Gray, and I am co-founder and CMO of Public AI, where we are making it equitable for people to add their experience to AI to make AI models more exceptional. Today, what I'm going to do is go into a lot of the more detail of how exactly we do that and how my background in building DAOs got us to be able to use Web3 primitives in new and interesting ways to meet those goals for our paying clients. The QR code that's up here will allow you to go ahead and try our system that's live today, so you can join up and play around with it and check out what this is all about. It's all real stuff that I'm talking about. So what problem are we facing when we're talking about using AI and using Web3 to enhance AI? When our clients come to us, what they've done is some kind of large language model experiment. And what large language models are great at is spewing out a bunch of text or images that are semi-believable. It's this latent space that is getting tighter and tighter, but it's all very generalized. And when our clients are trying to apply AI to their businesses, what they're missing is something that is focused and able to deliver reliability and also cost effectiveness when applying AI to specific business problems. Why is it that they can't get it to that level of reliability? Well, it's because AIs, LLMs, are very generic. The reason they can do these party tricks and generate text and images and videos that look so believable is that they're so generalized. So it's very easy to do something that looks plausibly reasonable for most use cases. But then when you ask it to do something focused and specific, it struggles with being able to nail that reliability. Why? It's the data behind it. It's trained on the entire internet, it's trained on synthetic data. These generalized use cases are a perfect fit for that, but when it comes to actual business applications, folks need specific focused data. And to get that data, centralization is not the best way. If you go to somebody like Reddit or Google and try and get specific data, what you'll get is a giant data set. That's not what most businesses need to get their AIs reliable in production. So what Web3 can do is go to a large set of workers and get specific data relevant to those business needs. And that's exactly what we're doing at Public AI. We have a community of over 700,000 data builders, hence the construction vest vibes. We're all constructing, building the data together. And with that, we get awesome diversity. We've literally got people on every continent, from all different socioeconomic demographics. The diversity is amazing. The quality is also very diverse, and that's less amazing. So how do we get great quality out of these data workers? That's where the Web3 primitives come into play. So we use a combination of stake slashing mechanism, consensus voting, and verified reputation to ensure that we get quality out of those workers through a pipeline. To go through those one by one, the way that the staking mechanism works is there's two stages. First, we go and source all of the data. It gets uploaded, and that can be any modality: images, text, videos, audio, anything. And after it's been sourced, we then do a stage of verification where voting happens, and people are judging whether or not the data that got uploaded is valid. So to participate in the uploading and the voting, the users have to stake to say, I'm committing to making a quality contribution here. I'm going to be adding more signal than noise. And when they do that, they get their stake back, they get paid, and their reputation increases so that the next time they go and participate, they actually have to stake less because they're a trusted actor in the system. Of course, if they don't add quality, then the exact opposite happens. They get slashed, and yes, that's kind of harsh, but that's the exact incentive mechanism that needs to be in place to ensure that quality comes out on the other side of this whole process. That reputation that gets built up also puts our users into different voting spheres or stratas. So when you first join the system, you're considered a scout. You're out there exploring, getting your feet wet. And the way that it works is when you're on the scout stratosphere, it takes a lot of scouts voting together to be able to say data is valid or invalid. And then after you build reputation, you become a guard. And at the guard tier, it takes less people voting together to be able to pass data or say that data is bad, whatever the consensus is. And then at the very top, there's the, oh, my HDMI is not working. Yeah. At the next tier, there's the judges, and those are basically the clients, other very high reputation individuals who have been longtime contributors in the ecosystem, and ourselves as workers in the company being able to kind of administer at the very top with just a few votes to say if something is good or bad. Now, you might think it sounds very inefficient to have a large group of people all voting and not being able to pass or deny a piece of data. But by having all of those people voting along the way, and then finally up the pyramid, having people being able to say, yes, this data is good or bad, we get strong signals about if these contributors are making real good contributions to the system or not. So this is essential for building the reputation of the contributors in the system. In addition to that, we also put out surveys to our users to be able to identify which ones of them are experts in different areas. For example, if somebody is a pet lover, loves anime, is into handbags, knows math or science, speaks a specific language, we do surveys to be able to see which one of our contributors are the right ones to put campaigns out to begin with. And the big question that we had to answer for ourselves, and also most people ask us when we explain the system, is do people actually show up? Putting a stake slashing mechanism in place is a very high barrier to entry. It's hard to get people to vote in the first place. Nobody likes governance. And it turns out that the answer is yes. When we put out campaigns, we have some fraction of those 700,000 workers showing up. And then because of the stake slashing mechanism, we get a smaller fraction participating. And that's exactly what we want, is the people who are dedicated to providing quality. If somebody's just doing random behavior, clicking around, trying to farm without providing actual value, then they wind up paying us for putting noise into the system. But the people who do show up and provide quality, they get more rewards because all of the people who got slashed aren't getting rewards. So the way that the economics work of the system means that the real workers get paid more and the farmers get paid less. We were able to verify all of that through building this first in an MVP way, off-chain using points. So we used a point system and have that deployed today. When you go and join a campaign, you get paid in USDC or other stable coins and points. And then from there, you will be doing a TGE next quarter. So for everybody in the audience, there's your WEN alpha next quarter. And after we release our token, then we'll be doing this whole system purely with our on-chain token. But the important part of building this first with points was that we were able to identify which components of the system needed to be edited very frequently and in real time in response to user behavior. And those are the values that we're baking into the smart contract to be able to tweak in real time as we're seeing people interact with campaigns. So in the end, the big question and vision is this a killer use case for Web3? And we think so. As I mentioned earlier, I've been building in Web3 for over 5 years. I built DAO infrastructure at Near Protocol, where I worked alongside Ilya Polosukhin, and we had over 2 billion in assets locked up in DAO infrastructure there. And through building that DAO infrastructure, also helped hundreds of projects launch. Have seen so many different use cases for this technology. And in a lot of the cases, the people who were reaching for DAO software, they were grabbing tools that were an approximate fit but weren't exactly great for what they were doing. What's really exciting about what we're building at Public AI is that we have paying clients in a very specific use case, and we're taking those same Web3 primitives and applying them to a very specific problem, which means we're able to tune the software to those exact needs. So one of the things that frustrates me about the Web3 space is seeing people kind of do the same thing over and over again, deploying another fungible token, doing another creator coin economy, when we know the exact shape it's going to take. We're taking primitives like staking, and instead of just saying, hey, we're going to offer you yield, we're using it to verify the quality of contributions in our system. And the same thing with the voting mechanisms and the reputation. We're not doing KYC to identify if you're allowed to go and get an airdrop. We're verifying your skills and keeping track of that on chain. And that's all anonymous. So you can be anywhere in the world. We don't care. What we care about is your expertise and your history, and what value you can bring to the system. And in the end, when we're talking about how to get value derived using Web3 and what that means for AI, the only way to get truly aligned models is through aligned incentives. And when we have top-down values driving where models are going, that means that we're going to have privatized interests in control of those models. And there's not going to be any place for humans there. So we see it as imperative and essential that we find routes for humans to come and bring their expertise, their interests, their values to these systems, so that even before we get to AGI or ASI, we're able to see ourselves reflected in AI systems and our values reflected in AI systems, so that we don't wind up in another situation like we had in the Web 2 world, where we're basically being farmed and all of the values being extracted from us. So in the end, through these Web3 mechanisms, we're able to get very high quality data from a very chaotic, self-emerging, self-selecting group of workers. Over 700,000 people are showing up, contributing data, verifying each other's data, and enriching AI with their human experience. Some of the clients that we're working with these days include somebody who's building WorldCoin for dogs, so we have people going and taking pictures of dog noses. We have a real-time translator client. They're doing something like Babelfish from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So for them, we're recording a lot of audio samples and local conversations in very niche dialects. And for clients like Eliza OS and other AI agent clients, we're helping them make it so that when all of the messages are coming into their systems, they don't have to spend as much on saying whether or not a message is worth replying to or not, which turns out to be one of the most costly parts of running those AI agent models. And in the long term, where are we going from here? What does this mean? One of the big moats that we see in the AI space is data, and that's why we're solving this problem. Compute keeps on getting cheaper and more available. Companies like DeepSeek are making it even easier for everybody to reach for AI. And for us, that is awesome, because it means more and more businesses are going to be thinking about how to apply AI to their businesses. What that means is that, well, yes, there might be some jobs being lost to the efficiencies of AI. There's also more room for solopreneurship and smaller companies to be able to do more. So we're expecting there to be a greater diversity of initiatives, companies, and smaller and medium enterprises that are going to be flourishing with the access to these tools, and we're prepared to be able to help them figure out how to apply AI to whatever their specific business needs are. One thing that you can kind of think about that drives this point home is the indie gaming scene, where through the diversity of small studios being able to develop products that appeal to niche audiences, you get a great diversity of products that allow you to, find a game in whatever weird niche you want. And that's going to be a wrap. The call to action is to go check out the platform. Data Hub is live today. You can play around with it. It's a product that we're iterating on, and we'd love your feedback. So we'd love to see you in the community. It's a lot of fun. I'm there in the trenches looking at dog noses with everybody else. And also, if you are a small company, a startup, and you're thinking about how to apply AI to your business, would love to talk. Maybe we can run a campaign, test things out, see if we can get you what you need. And then besides our TGE in Q2 that I mentioned, we're also going to be doing an NFT collection very soon, and that's going to be a whitelist for our DPIN devices, which will allow us not only to collect the data from people's phones and desktops, like the audio, video, text, etc., but we'll also be able to collect things like brainwaves and other DSI type data with our DPIN devices going forward. And that's it. So I ran through the slides pretty quick. That leaves us with time for questions if anybody has any. Small audience, but we got a mic right here if anybody has any comments or questions. I explained it super well. Everybody's happy. Nailed it. Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jordan Craig.